The Morrison government will create a $1 billion low emissions technology fund as part of its commitment to net zero by 2050. The fund will target emerging technologies including carbon capture and storage, green steel and ways to reduce methane emissions from cattle. The government will stump up $500,000, with the other $500 million that should be, with the other $500 million to be raised from the private sector. The changes will need to be approved by Parliament, setting up a potential showdown with Labor ahead of the election. The Prime Minister will make the announcement in Melbourne on day 3 of his post-lockdown tour. It follows his ambitious plan to get 1.7 million electric cars on the road in 9 years' time.
At Toyota's hydrogen hub in Melbourne, the Prime Minister plugs into a new electric vehicle pitch.
Yeah, OK, so he's plugging in to go. Yep.
The government is tipping an extra $178 million into its so-called Future Fuels Fund, promising to build charging infrastructure, allowing drivers to power up in 50,000 homes, 400 businesses and at 1,000 publicly available stations across the country. A policy the PM claims will help get Australia on the road to net zero by 2050.
This is one of the key building blocks. The future fuels and the take-up of electric vehicles driven by Australians' choices. And $250 million is being invested in this.
It's a major gear shift from Scott Morrison's rhetoric at the last federal election, when he attacked then Labor leader Bill Shorten's pitch for half of all new car sales to be electric by 2030.
It's not going to tow your trailer, it's not going to tow your boat. Bill Shorten wants to end the weekend.
Looking back, was that silly, short-sighted or just a lie?
I don't think their policy was a good policy. I still don't think it was a good policy.
The former Labor leader today.
Listen, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery in politics.
The Commonwealth expects battery electric and plug-in hybrid vehicles to make up 30% of new car sales by 2030, but it isn't setting a target.
People buy the low emissions vehicles and emissions come down in the process. That's what technology, not taxes and choices, not mandates, is all about.
And unlike 2019, Labor won't introduce a target either.
What we'll be doing is making electric vehicles cheaper.
By removing government charges on electric cars like import taxes and the fringe benefits tax. The Electric Vehicle Council is also critical, warning the government's plan doesn't go far enough.
Look, I think for what it does do, it's fine and just fine. The bigger problem with it is just how much it doesn't do.
It wants to see fuel efficiency standards and rebates to accelerate the switch to electric vehicles. This is Scott Morrison's first trip to Melbourne after months of COVID lockdowns. As his pre-election tour hits Victoria, the PM visited the ultra-marginal seat of Chisholm, which the coalition is desperate to cling on to. It's the country's third most marginal seat, held by just 0.5%. Gladys Liu appearing alongside the Prime Minister, who'll be hoping his post-lockdown blitz will be the electoral sweetener needed.
It'll get there, we'll pick up again.
Andrea Crothers, Sky News, Melbourne.